Hello and welcome to Advertisers Watching Ads. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly show where brands watch other brands' ads and discuss what's good and bad about them. We are partnered with Contagious, who have chosen this week's ad. But before we get into that, let's meet this week's guests.
I'm Amy. I'm from Nurture Brands and I'm a brand manager.
Hi, I'm Colin Horan. I'm from Clear Channel UK and I'm a client partner.
Thank you so much for joining us this week, guys. I am going to play this week's ad.
Hola. Hola.
Hola.
Mi nombre es y llevo trabajando 1 año y medio en
Sí, llevo bastante tiempo trabajando en
Trabajo en el tele de repartidor.
A ver, me ayuda a pagarme la carrera, mi coche.
Mira, quiero enseñarte algo.
Tiene buena pinta.
Vamos, que la probarías.
Sí. Sí.
Ya ves.
Ahora mismo.
¿Y si te digo que es para salir en un anuncio de KFC?
In January 2021, we released La Infame, a KFC limited edition, and to prove how irresistible it was, we decided to put our competitors' employees to the test. This is how Backdoors came about, an action in which we invited them to try an Infame for free, and without being seen, if they came along in their uniforms to our restaurant's back doors. We released a video starring real competitors' employees. And we did everything we could to get the word out. We put our posters opposite and next to their workplaces. We put hangers on their scooters. We handed out flyers. We set up a free hotline which they could call and prove they were from the competition. We even sneaked into their kitchens by hiding messages in online order notes. What started out as KFC's most infamous campaign ended up becoming the brand's most successful in Spain. Making the Infame the best-selling limited edition in the brand's history in Spain. And the most important thing, thousands of competitors' employees tried the Infame with a 0% dismissal rate. No one should have to resist what they like.
Colin, what did you first think when you saw that video?
But yeah, it's quite a cheeky campaign. It's brave. I guess a slight question mark on do I think a delivery driver for a competitor is going to be that necessarily that loyal anyway? Probably didn't really matter in terms of the positioning they were trying to get from it anyway.
So the first time I watched it, I was quite confused. I had to watch it a couple of times. But I think in terms of the advert in isolation on its own, I don't think I understood what it was until I got all the background. Once I got all the background, I honestly thought it was an amazing campaign. I thought it was genius. So the background of the campaign was all really around recruiting the competitors to basically try their new exclusive, like their new limited edition, like double down chicken burger, whatever it was. They basically used the employees from other takeaways to basically get them to sample their new product. And they really kind of went like behind the scenes. They used lots of different interesting means to drive them to sample the product in disguise. I loved it. I think in terms of an exclusive, I think they really drove that like FOMO factor, which I thought was just like really interesting. I think a lot of that is really that kind of urgency and that drive to be like one of the first to try it. So, but I loved it. I thought it was like super engaging, classic KFC, like very mischievous, like a smirk, like when you see like all the stuff behind it. But I do think that in terms of the actual advert itself, they could have pulled more of that out. I love KFC ads, so I was loving it.
So, Colin, is that a strong enough message to the consumer that someone from Burger King would try this product? To your point, Colin, are they that loyal anyway? It's very funny. It's cheeky. I love that shot of the Burger King employees sat in their uniforms outside of the restaurant. You know, what an amazing shot. But does it really matter? Is that special?
I kind of think for the purpose, you know, the message that they're trying to create with this, just being a little bit cheeky, trying to position it as something that's incredibly tasty that even the other employees would go to and kind of risk their reputation.
It's just sampling, just like a sampling like project that they've just put a really nice twist on, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually.
Yeah. If
you start from the sampling aspect and then you've added an extra layer, I think it's good.
And so what would have made this better for you, Colin?
Sometimes I can be a bit skeptical when I see these campaigns is how did it work in the real world? Or was it just something to create social buzz, which again is fine if it gets them where they need to be. I think what I thought they could do as a sort of follow-up is that once they've got the employees to consider diverting them from their existing employee to try KFC, could the next stage be the follow-up is how do you divert people who are about to go into a Burger King or a McDonald's or whatever and divert them in to try it? So they're then getting the consumer on the back of. So is that sort of, again, similar outdoor in proximity, geo-targeted mobile ads, whatever it is to divert people?
It has created such a massive buzz, but sometimes in campaigns you see a lot of like little bits that maybe aren't as effective, but it does feel that every single bit was quite effectively done. But I think for me, like the next level would have maybe been kind of like the wider consumer piece.
Yeah, I thought the creative aspect was good. There's probably a bit of a buzz. If you didn't really know what's going on, you were probably quite interested in trying to work out, maybe you just call a number and see what's going on.
So Amy, do you think outside of marketing in the real world, I was chatting to you in the office for argument's sake and said, oh, KFC have got McDonald's and Burger King employees to go and try out their burger wearing their uniforms. I think it's fantastic. I loved it. First time I saw it, I thought, this is genius. In a non-marketing sense, does anyone care? Is that really that interesting?
I do think if I was honestly a consumer that's like separate from marketing, it's quite hard to like separate yourself sometimes. Do I think I would massively care? No. But I think I'd be incredibly intrigued. Like I do think consumers actually do love advertising. They love marketing when it's so clever. And I feel like this is a really clever tactic that you would talk about. So it doesn't just feel like a poster for their like new limited edition. I feel like if you saw it on Twitter, you saw it on YouTube, if you saw every single step, I do think that would definitely appeal. When like advertisers let consumers in a little bit to the process, I feel like they love it. So I do think it is something that you might talk about.
I think often when these new burgers get released, people are intrigued to try them. And if someone says to their friends, oh, have you seen the new KFC burger? And they just start talking about the story. And I think it just adds greater intrigue to want to try it, just to see what the fuss is about. So I probably think they've achieved their goal in doing that without having to overcomplicate it. What can brands be learning from this execution by KFC?
They have this really nice way at remaining playful in the market. The next one is around like FOMO. I just think the minute you create FOMO, the minute you get people so interested and engaged, people want to know what it is. Consumers, they love marketing. Like before I was a marketeer, I loved marketing. I loved the clever stuff that companies did. So I think it's how can we remain clever? Of course, we're led by data. There's lots of new ways we can advertise, but actually, how can we really kind of bring it to the heart and really kind of bring consumers on side and keep things clever and witty and funny, and maybe not be so focused on the data sometimes, but try and bring it more to kind of like a people word of mouth perspective. I think I agree with a lot of what Amy said. I think the playful aspect is really interesting. We're seeing a bit of a trend of that at the moment, particularly on social media with a lot of brands sort of creating a bit of excitement amongst themselves. And I think it fits well, I think, for this category, the fast food industry. But I also think there's other brands that can probably be more brave, combining that kind of physical and social virtual worlds. So the fact that they had physical posters, people were seeing this in the physical world. I'm sure they were sharing it, sending pictures. It was creating a conversation, but then that conversation was then taken to social media to really amplify that. And I think that's something that a lot of brands, I think, can learn from this. So we're going to go now, but I need you guys to vote for the creative concept overall. Can you hold up your hands on a count of 3 for how many points you would give it out of 5? 3, 2, 1. Oh, 2 4s. Brilliant. Well done, KFC. Fantastic. Guys, thanks so much for watching the show this week. We'd love to know what you think. If you could leave some comments on below, whether this is LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter, please let us know what you think of this ad and what KFC could have done differently. But otherwise, I will see you all next week.